This video is of a couple examples in Math 120 from section 8.3 on simple interest. So we're going to skip to example 2. You deposit $750 in a savings account with a rate of 3.4%. Find the interest after 4 years. They tell us that we are trying to find the interest. They don't say anything about whether it's simple interest, compound interest, or anything along those lines. So when they don't tell us anything specific, we assume it's simple interest. We're going to use that formula, I equals PRT. Just like in class, I'm going to list out each variable. I equals, P equals, R equals, and T equals. And as I read through the problem, I'm going to fill in the numbers that represent each variable. It says that we deposit $750. The amount that we start with, that we deposit or that we borrow, is always the principal. So that $750 goes next to my P for principal. You deposit $750 in a savings account with a rate of 3.4%. They tell us right there that 3.4% is the rate. That goes in my R spot. But remember, rates have to be in decimal form when I plug it into the equation. That means I need to take that decimal point and bump it 2 spaces to the left, which gives me 0.034 as my rate. That last sentence says find the interest after 4 years. That means my time is 4 years. The units of time have to be years. They gave it to me in years, so I don't have to do any conversions. They told me to find the interest. Interest is the only thing I don't know, so I have all the information I need. Now I just plug everything into the equation. I'm solving for interest. My principal is 750. My rate in decimal form is 0.034. My time is 4 years. When I multiply all of that out, I get 102. Remember, interest is money. So that means if I'm answering this problem, that the interest after 4 years is $102. We are going to skip ahead to example 6. You plan to save $3,000 for a vacation in 2 years. You decide to purchase a certificate of deposit, or a CD, from your bank that pays a simple interest rate of 2.5%. How much must you put in the CD now in order to have the $3,000 in 2 years? The first thing I always do when I read these problems is try to figure out what equation I need to use. They tell me right here that the bank pays a simple interest rate. So we have 2 equations for simple interest. I equals PRT, and A equals P times the quantity 1 plus RT. Both of these equations have P for principal, R for rate, and T for time. In this first one, the I is the interest earned. In this second one, the A is the future amount. So we can decide which equation to use based on the information they give us and what they're asking us for. We need to check, are they asking us or giving us the total interest earned? If that's true, we would use this first equation. Or are they telling us or asking us how much money we need or we're going to have in the future? If that's the case, we need to use this second equation. I'm going to reread the problem and look for any keywords to help me figure out which equation to use. It says you plan to save $3,000 for a vacation in 2 years. That first sentence tells me how much money I need to have in the future, or how much money I need 2 years from now. So because of that, I need to use the second equation. Once I've decided that, just like I always do, I'm going to list out all of the variables, so as I read the problem, I can fill in the information that I know. That $3,000 is the money I need in the future, so I'm going to fill in $3,000 for A. If I keep reading, it says you decide to purchase a certificate of deposit from your bank that pays a simple interest rate of 2.5%. Rate then is my 2.5%. Just like before, I need to make this a decimal, which is 0.025. How much must you put in the CD now? That's asking me how much I'm depositing, so I don't know my principal. In order to have the $3,000, which we already said was A, in 2 years. So that 2 years pops up twice. It has to be my time. It's already in years, so I can just leave it 2. If I substitute everything into that second equation, I will have 3,000 equals my principal P times 1 plus the rate 0.025 times the time 2. I need to actually solve this equation. My variable P is on that right-hand side with a few other numbers. The first thing I'm going to do is simplify everything inside those parentheses. So remember, with order of operations, we multiply first. 0.025 times 2 is 0.05. 1 plus 0.05 is 1.05. Now I can focus on getting P all by itself. It's P times 1.05. To undo multiplication, I use division. When I divide, I end up with 2,857.142,857 equals P. Whenever you see problems like this, where you are asked to find the principal, what we always want to do is round up to the nearest cent. So no matter what, we're always going to bump it up by 1 cent. So remember, cents are in the thousandths, or I apologize, cents are in the hundredth spot. We normally look at the thousand spot to help us round. But in this case, even though with a 2 we would normally round down, because we're solving for the principal, we're going to bump it up and say that we need to put in 15 cents, not 14 cents. The reason is, if we put in $2,857.14 right now, we will be a little bit shy of our $3,000 2 years from now, because we really need this extra part of a cent to get to exactly $3,000. So we always round up because we say it's better to have a little bit of money at the end, a little bit extra money at the end, than not enough money.